Good morning. Welcome to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. And, here we go, Boyd. We were talking about it before the show started. Wow, a little bit of fireworks last night, yesterday evening down in Florida as the United States, the FBI raids former President Donald Trump's house and goes and looking for some files. Easy there now, Cowboy. Remember, we're neutral. We're just reporting the news. I can see it in your face. What were your thoughts on that, though? Here you are. You're a college kid. You know what? You're from Texas. What were your thoughts when you saw this come across the news?
I mean, personally, I don't agree with it. It's never been done in our country's history. I just feel like for something that, like a big ordeal like that needs to be something that, previous precedent where it's occurred before, where it's been done before, which it hasn't. And so,
now it has. So now they can't. Now I guess it's wide open on that. Yeah, I was kind of miffed yesterday when I saw it come across the news. It was like, wow, you know what? But I look at things a little different. To me, it's just the presidency. Hey, be careful whether it's Republican, Democrat on how you do this. And is it time to do that? I've been watching a little Billions, though. Have you seen Billions?
I have not.
Watch Billions, and it's I feel like I know a little bit more about the DOJ after watching Billions. I know it's probably none of it's true, but no, it was crazy to know that happened, and you know what? And then when you flip-flop, and I'm a big flip-flopper when it comes to the news. I like to watch both sides. I just do. I like to hear what one says versus the other. It intrigues me the different perceptions you get from each, and they're both as strong as they can possibly be on both sides of it. And you're like, my God, is there really? Here's my thing, producer. Let me just ask you: is there how come there just can't be a news station that just reports the news? Everybody's reporting their opinion.
I was watching. I was flipping between CNN and Fox News because CNN was going more in depth of what they possibly could have been taking.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Fox News was more of just the whole, this is complete violation of the Constitution.
Oh, yeah.
But it was Fox News at one point brought on Dan Bongino, who was ex Secret Service agent for Barack Obama. He's a big conservative guy that they bring on to talk about different stuff within the Department of Justice.
He was angry.
Oh, he was pissed.
Yeah,
and
he was angry.
At one point, he said, he had a good line where he was just talking about how already, the issue's not, within the government fully. It's so much with the media, and he was talking about, I think it was the New York, one of the New York big magazines or newspapers. They had information on it before it even went down, and so he was just talking about how that's the issue, right now is that we have no neutrality in our media. So it just worsens, the issues we have with the party lines.
And I agree, man. I just want the news. I just want somebody to come out and just say what it is. You know what? You hear about, and now all you hear on Fox, it's all about Hunter Biden right now, right? Hunter had this, and I'm saying, oh my God, everything just address it, look at it. You know what? We have a country right now that's hurting financially. We have a country right now that we're facing, I know fuel prices have came down a little bit, still extremely, extremely high. We have, we just continue to see increases in everything. And you know what? And there's a lot of things going on here. Hey, folks, how about we somehow bring it together? I don't know how we do that. It's easier said than done. It just doesn't happen on that. But I will say this, there was, and I think it was, I don't know which person I was watching. It was obviously on a Fox. I think it was Hannity, actually. He had Donald's son on the show.
Yeah.
So Donald's son, Trump was on there, and he was asking him. He goes, I'm just curious, and maybe Donald's different than the other presidents. And I guess I didn't realize they have like 6 hours, or he had like 6 hours to move out when the new president moved in. All that really happens pretty quick right there. And he goes, did he pack his own boxes and all that? Referring to any files that may be over in the Mar-a-Loma house that, Donald probably didn't sit there and pack up things. They were probably packed by somebody. Did he go through them all and all that?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a mess. It's just a mess. It's a mess. And it's right here, as we enter into the midterm elections, not an election show, but again, continues this country. My God, it isn't this hard. Well, it really isn't.
Things are just going to continue to get worse. And this is one of the worst, economic times in our country's history. And with, how fortunate our country has become, in the last 10 years, technologically and just all that. It's
dependency,
Yeah, it's just sad to see that so many people are struggling and we're still, that this is the top issue.
Yeah, and again, we got to find a way. I wish would have given this some thought years ago. I'm 52. Boy, I'm ripe for being president of the United States of America. If only I would have thought about that back in the day when all them the skeletons and all that. I wouldn't have as many. I could be the president, bring us together. But anyway, we're moving forward. Hey, today we have Truckers Against Trafficking on today. We're excited to have them on again as we talk about what's going on. And we've seen and heard about all of this that goes on, especially down in those border towns, right? Once again, we talk about Tucson. We've had Sheriff Lamb on as he's talked about what's going on, all of the trafficking. They can't stop them all. Do we put a border up? Do we put a wall up? Do we not put a wall up? All of these things, but you know what? We've got to find a way to reduce the trafficking that comes in here. And then once it gets here, listen, it's here. Now it's the trucker side, right? And we're going to have Liz on as we talk about that. It's on some of us. And it's because we are the kings and the queens of these highways. It's on us to look at things because we know when things just aren't right. And when they're not right, we have to make that phone call. We're going to talk to Liz, and I'm going to encourage you right now, if you haven't done it, write this down, Truckers Against Trafficking. Hey, get TAT certified. You know what? It helps you out, helps you identify things to look for, things to do, and numbers to call when you see something. It gives you a little bit of education that, once again, is used to help, folks that need our help. Truckers Against Trafficking. We have Liz. She'll be coming on in just a little bit. In other news, we continue to see, financing coming out. And you know what? I'll just say this. I'm curious what happens to to our stock market today. How's it going to react to what happened? Is it going to react at all? Negative, positive? What's it going to do? You have that. You have the inflation thing, whatever that's called, that really has nothing to do with inflation. I will say that it has nothing to do with inflation. It's more of it's more for spending money on the environment around us. A lot of things like that are going on that can really drive this economy in one direction. One thing for certain, what we want to see on our side, you the trucker, the truck driver, is you want to continue to see people spending money. People buying goods, buying those washers, buying those dryers, because that's what creates that truckload for you and I. That's what we are after. These vacations that people are on as we finish vacations right now, listen, that didn't create the truckloads that we need in our industry. We continue to see good volume, not what we saw last year, but still good volume. Better than what we saw in 2018, 2019, and early 20. So the volume continues to be there. Now what we've got to do is to find a way to reduce that inflation, to get you to go out there and spend money, which is, that's kind of counterintuitive right there. As we raise interest rates, we still want you to go out there and spend money. And it's just, hey, I know they're interest rates, but can you go build? Can you go create a new facility? Can you go build a 1 million square foot facility and I'm going to raise the interest rates on you? Can you do that, please? Oh, by the way, just in case you made a mistake, and I know that you're human, I know there's all these computers. Hey, but guess what? We just, with our new plan, we're also going to bring in a bunch of IRS auditors to go out there to your place of business and start auditing you to make sure that we can find a way to create more revenue inside. A lot of these things happen that I just think, man, is that really helping what we're doing today? Is it hurting us? Are we, raising interest rate? How is that going to get you to go out there and buy that house? right now? How's it going to get you the business to go out there and spend money when interest rates are going up as well? So some challenges right here, but we've got to continue to buy somehow. We're going to hopefully see that fuel prices continue its decline. Very important that it does that, because it does allow that consumer that extra money to go out there and spend it. Don't forget, school is just around the corner. What's that going to do to our economy? We have people going out school shopping right now. We're seeing the sales already to try to take advantage of that. Fuel's going down. Will it stay down? Is it going to go back up? Some people predict that diesel price will take another swing going northbound as they enter into their peak season. So, it's a lot of odd things. Will the fuel come down, diesel go up? Will they both go down? Will they both go up? Will they kind of plateau? We're going to find out pretty quick, because we are nearing the end of summer. It doesn't feel like it, but I can tell you this, it is the end of summer, maybe in Dallas, because for the first time, we're under 100 degrees. We'll have Double Check Dale talking a little bit about weather. We'll be talking about safety. But next, we're going to go to a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk with Liz with Truckers Against Trafficking. All this and so much more on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with a Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
And welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Liz, all the way from California, good morning to you. And I hope your husband can't hear me talking this loud right now. He's probably like, honey, get out of here. Get out of here. Do this call somewhere else.
I have my headphones in, and he hasn't had his coffee yet, so we're good.
All right. I know you got a wake-up call with him at 5:30, so we're going to get going here. Hey, before we do that, October will mark your second-year anniversary at Truckers Against Trafficking. Hey, congratulations on that. And then tell us again, especially for those that may be new to our show, hey, why Truckers Against Trafficking for you?
You know what? They do a fantastic job of bringing the issue to trafficking to so many industries and people that I never would have been exposed to otherwise. And I love that I work in a job that makes a difference, just like you do.
Gotcha. Like that. Liz, yesterday we were talking before the show, and you did a little bit of painting yesterday, I heard. You're an artiste now, and talk to me about that side. First of all, what are you going out there painting?
You know what? I had a great time with a girlfriend. We went out and we did a step-by-step class, and it was a painting of 2 dragonflies in the moonlight, and just something different.
2 dragonflies. I like that. It's probably deep, and I've never been one to really go out there and understand paintings, but I get it, right? I mean, it's supposed to. Did it release any stress from you?
You know what? It did, and it was really nice to see a girlfriend.
Well, that's always good, and hopefully, I'm sure, a lot of this place, you get a little glass of wine with you as you paint. Probably helps the, that productivity or that creativity. Hey, but there's a painting also that I have right here. I'm reading about this that you're a big fan of. Hey, tell us about the painting that we're talking about here.
Oh, sure. So I painted this painting. It was a self-portrait that I felt like this is what I felt like when I was being trafficked. And recently in Indiana, one of the organizations there decided to feature it on their website, and I got to share what the journey of healing from trafficking really looks like.
Hey, Boyd, go back and show that again as we continue to talk through this right here. And Liz, as we show this painting again, hey,
it's actually on my wall behind me in my office.
Gotcha. I want to see this as you talk to me about this. Hey, I'm going to look at this, and I want you to talk to me through what you're feeling in this painting.
You know what? When I was trafficked, I felt so alone, but so exposed. When you see, the representation of fire behind this image, I felt like my whole soul was on fire, but no one saw it. And I was waiting for someone to come interrupt my story. When you look at this person's gaze on the painting, it really is soul searing because I wanted someone to see me. I named this image Scarlet.
Gotcha. Wow. And you know what? And all that you're saying, I was just looking at that while you're explaining that, and I can see all that. I mean, I can see in that picture right there. Well, I can just see somebody. I see you, right, hurting. You're there holding yourself. You're alone. You're in that almost in that fetal position. You're just like looking out. You're dazed, and that look that you're saying too. I also look at that from my eyes. I'm just looking. It's a look of confusion. Like what's going on? Is this ever gonna end? Can somebody help me? Do you not see me? And Liz, when you felt like that, I mean, you had to gaze into the eyes of somebody, and they had to look back at you. Know that, man, this woman here, this girl, she's hurting. And did you see those looks? And maybe people just didn't know what to do on the other side.
You know what? Honestly, I think that there are good people out there, and just like you're saying, they just didn't know what to do. I believe that human kindness goes such a far way, and we've gotten away from that a bit. And so instead of thinking, oh, well, if I give someone $5, are they going to use it for the wrong purpose? No, give the $5 willingly and gladly. And you don't know what that kind word, what that gesture means to the other person. One of the best things I can tell people is if you see one of our unhoused, homeless, individuals in communities, ask them their name. You don't know the last time that they've been given that dignity, because in reality, they feel invisible.
Last month, and it was just about a month ago now, we had that, maybe a little bit more than a month, we had that horrific trafficking that, in San Antonio, where we found 52, I believe, people dead in the back of a trailer. But when you hear that story, right, when you saw that on the news, man, what went through your mind?
Greed. Honestly, that someone would use a human being as an object to get from point A to point B, to smuggle them. I can't imagine the terror and the pain that those individuals went through. And I don't want it to be just another blasé event where someone thinks, oh, it happened again. Oh, well, glad it didn't happen to me. How do we take responsibility for fellow human beings around us? I'm so grateful that a few did survive. Can you imagine the pain that they went through?
Yeah, you know what? I can't. And I remember, so I went back and I read some stories, and I watched it on Univision as well, as they were talking to one of the ladies that was sitting in the back. She got in that trailer and she sat towards the I guess where the doors are, because she saw there was nowhere to breathe there. Her and I think her sister, and they did what they could, and their bodies were hurting from thirst. Their bodies were hurting from lack of air. When, even though those that lived through this, to touch them, it was warm to the touch. I mean, you felt that in them when you touched them. They were hot. Their bodies, not fever, they were hot. Like, they're gonna die hot like most of those others. I can't imagine, what was going through their mind. I mean, Liz, when you're doing that, I mean, when you're going through that, I mean, you tell me. I mean, what goes through your mind about your family, about your friends, about will you ever see anybody again? Is life over today? Is it tomorrow? What goes through your mind?
I think it's all of those thoughts. I wasn't smuggled. I didn't have any of those experiences. But I will say, when you're trafficked, when you're sold, I felt like less than human. I felt like the dirt on somebody's shoe, where someone could do something to me and my body just felt like junkyard, like a dump yard, where that's what I was good for. And I'm trying to be polite about that, but literally that's how low I felt. And I'm so grateful now to remember how bad that felt and know that I feel completely opposite now, that I'm victorious in my life, that things are really, really good, but may I never forget that despair.
Yeah, and one of the things you do by doing this is telling your story, is telling us, people like myself, about what you went through, because it's important that number one, that I make a difference when I can, that I do something when I see something, and we use BCB Live to get that story out to others as well. Liz, talk to me and talk to those out here as well. How did you get out of this? I mean, can you talk about that a little bit?
I can. You know what? One day you wake up and you realize this isn't what I want for my life. This isn't going anywhere. And I was mad that I was still alive, personally. And I knew that I needed to leave. I knew that I could never go back to my mom, because my mom was my first trafficker. I don't have a safety net. I don't have someone to depend on. So I knew that I was leaving without shoes on in the middle of the night. I ended up at a homeless shelter, and I just put my life back together piece by piece. I don't recommend it for anyone, because it was the hardest thing I've ever done. But all I could think was, if all my life is supposed to be is me being sold, then I don't want any part of that. But I'm going to try and make a different life for myself.
Yes, and when we hear this thing, and God, I mean, that's something you absolutely should never have to go through on your own. And again, when we talk about truckers against trafficking, we're going to move into that a little bit. Liz, do we, on the trucking side, can we really make a difference, or is this just a cause that's really doesn't stand that chance of being very effective?
You know what? We can absolutely make a difference. When you and I just get in the car to leave our house, we see people. Multiply that by being on the road, by being in a professional truck, you're going to see a lot of people, and you're going to see a lot of things. You may be more observant and aware than I would be, because, I haven't been trained in that way. And if the only thing you do is report what you see because it just doesn't settle right, that's a victory, because you don't know how long the person in whatever situation or experience, you don't know how long they felt invisible. So how do we change that dynamic?
And I think about some of the things, there's those truck stops, there's those truck stops that we know that we shouldn't go to because of high theft, because of maybe trafficking, because of drugs, because of, prostitution, all of that goes along with certain truck stops. It makes me angry that they're allowed to stay open. It makes me angry that we can put a thing out into in the trucking community that says stay away from these places, and I'm just like, well, if we know they exist, how do we not do anything? How do we, how do we let them continue to operate in those places? What do you think about when you hear, and you probably see it, certain truck stops that we're not supposed to go to? Whether it's theft or it's on this trafficking side, does that it makes me angry.
It should make you angry, but that's also where it calls you to action. This is the place that we need to put posters up about trafficking. This is where we need desperately to train people to watch that half-hour video, to know what they're looking at. Instead of shame and judgment for someone experiencing prostitution, let's dig deeper. No one wakes up and thinks, I want to be a prostitute. No, what got them to that point, and we don't know if they're being forced. So how do we treat everyone with compassion? What do we do to make that truck stop that no one wanted to go to? Because there are amazing truck stops. We can't pick on a piece of the industry without realizing that we have the power to change it. And I know that I love our truck stop partners with Truckers Against Trafficking, because the owners have stepped up and said, this is so important to us. We will train every employee. So that's really what we have. There's going to be a few bad apples here and there, but even those bad apples, what if we decide to change it?
Great point on that. Love your attitude on that. You brought up missing. Let's go into missing persons for a second. The flyers that we see, and we see them still on TV. I mean, do those help? I mean, do they make a difference, those missing person flyers? And if so, I mean, what do we also need to do to maybe make them more effective?
You know what? I think they help. I think that more visibility is better than less. If someone came up to me, and I know that if you looked on my LinkedIn, I have a missing persons poster from Pennsylvania right now. I don't live there, but if I can do my part, because I've read reports about the 6 or 7 degrees of separation, that we're all actually connected in some way, then a poster is not too big of a deal. It's just something very simple where it feels honoring to the family and to the people experiencing that loss of that missing person. To me, it's a no-brainer. Of course I'd put it up. And, maybe I don't see that person, that individual that's missing, but I'm going to be more cognizant of the people in my community and what stands out to me. Who needs my help? How can I be of service?
Liz, do me a favor. Talk to me a little bit about that Freedom Drivers Project. And then I also want you to tie in that Truckers Against Trafficking, that new mobile app that's out there as well.
Sure thing. So our Freedom Drivers Project is a 48-foot trailer that you can walk through. It's basically a mobile museum that has artifacts from survivors that talk about the different factors of how did this person get into the situation and what can you do about it. I have watched grown men cry when they walk through our Freedom Drivers Project and have them say, I didn't realize all the factors that went into this and that I can make a difference. So I love it. And, I know that all of us, my cell phone is sitting right here. If we can all download the Truckers Against Trafficking app, we can be trained about human trafficking, know how to report it, and tell somebody else about it. If you use the ELD app, we also have one for that as well, because I know that some companies are concerned with data and things like that. Well, we have all our training videos and you don't have to worry about that. And the other thing that I like about the power of the cell phone, please program the National Human Trafficking Hotline number into your phone or your local 911 into your phone, because if you do see something, you're more apt to say something if it's easier for you to be able to report.
Great information. You know what? Knowledge is power, is powerful. Liz, also, you talked about this. You said the word a few times, and I'm a big believer in this, is that, at the end of the day, we're called to love one another, and it's not that hard to love somebody, and love means that when you see somebody that needs your help, as you said earlier, that you help them. It's not our concern today really to judge them, wonder what they're going to do, what is she doing, what's he doing, any of that. Our job, what we're called to do, is to actually go out there and help. And when we talk about Truckers Against Trafficking, let me tell you something, that phone call is major. That phone call may be the difference in saving somebody's life, getting them out of the situation they're in right now. It is powerful. I want to encourage each and every one of you, go to Truckers Against Trafficking, get TAT certified. Liz, how do they get a hold of you if they want to talk to you? And I need you to also, maybe do a little closing on Truckers Against Trafficking, anything you want to say. And when you finish it, you know the rules. You've got to say your name, and you've been watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
You got it. So I encourage everyone to go on our website, truckersagainsttrafficking.org. Not only do we train the trucking industry, we have oil industry, natural gas. We have our busing industry. We have an avenue for everyone to be able to get involved, and all of our materials are free. If you want to put a decal on your truck, we can help you with that. If you want to hand out wallet cards, we have them free of charge that have human trafficking, what to look for, suspicious signs, activity, and more importantly, what to do about it. And I am excited that you want to get involved. That's what I truly believe. When you're going to watch this broadcast, you're thinking, of course, it's a no-brainer. I want to be involved. And my name is Liz Williamson. I'm with Truckers Against Trafficking. I'm a survivor of sex trafficking, and I'm on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
All right, Liz, I appreciate that. And you know what? Hearing you say that, I'll be honest with you, it makes me tear up to hear you say that. It's just, man, what a shame that you had to go through that others are going through that right now. And let me tell you something, America, we do have that ability. Let me tell you something, trucking community. We have the ability to change somebody's life. Make that change. It requires action, requires a phone call. Liz, thank you so much for all that you do, for sharing your story, and for being as brave as you are.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, that was Liz with Truckers Against Trafficking. We have so much more coming up on the show, including none other than he's back from his hiatus, going out trying to find cooler weather. He got some back, he's got it in his pocket, and he's coming up next. Double Check Dale on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
And you got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
Hey, welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You got Double Check Dale back after a brief hiatus. Hey, good to be back in front. What a great guest to have on this morning, Liz Williamson. Thank you for coming on, Truckers Against Trafficking. Hey, step up. If you see something, say something. With that, we're going to take a look at some weather, and there is not a lot going on today. Let's start with the wind and wind gust. And there's nothing happening today to speak of. You know, as we put this in motion throughout the day, we just don't see any areas where the winds really get stronger and where we're going to have an issue with gusts throughout the day. And so, you know, enjoy your day as far as that goes. We go over to the rain and thunder and see what's going on with precipitation. You know, currently there's not a whole lot going on right now. Do have a little bit of a storm going on in northern Oklahoma, in that corner of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, where they all come together, Kansas all come together, and it does stretch up across southern and central Illinois into Indiana. And the reason I bring that up, because if we go to a little later this morning, probably around that 11 o'clock hour, that storm situation up in the Illinois, Indiana, right on that southern border where those two states meet, there is a pretty strong cell there where you could see some strong winds, potential for a tornado in that one. Other than that, not a lot going on throughout most of the morning. As we get into the afternoon, we see a lot of showers start to pop up, and it's mostly in the southern states. Starts up in, we do have some up in Oregon and comes down through Nevada and Arizona. There are some flash flood warnings or watches in the northern Arizona area because, you know, it doesn't take much rain up there to get some flooding going on. And then as we come across, you know, some of the southern states, we see some pop-up showers this afternoon. Again, Kentucky is getting some more showers, and where they really don't need it, lots of flooding. Flood watch is still in effect for the Lexington area, up in that area. Lots of rain still predicted could happen up there. Any rain is going to cause more flooding there. Pretty strong shower out in the Boston, Mass area this afternoon. Gulf Coast area, chance of rain again this afternoon, this evening. As we go into the early evening hours, you know, the showers start to die down a little bit. Northern Arkansas could see some pretty strong showers this evening. Other than that, you know, not anything really major or severe forecast. In temperatures, you know what? They're not too bad. When I say not too bad, you know, by this afternoon, you know, we're going to see some higher 90s here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but I don't think we'll see triple digits today. So that's kind of a nice break going on there. And as you know, go up through the north, there's still plenty of warm temperatures, hot temperatures this afternoon, but nothing as bad as it's been recently. Hey, with that, we're going to take a short break, and we're coming back to talk some safety.
You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected.
News down in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong.
Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob. You can kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety.
One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear affords the wearer durable clothing with a great fit to afford the highest degree of safety. Get your high-visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Dale, I know you're going to want to get right into safety. Brake Safety Week, Rick. Don't make this personal. This is all about the news. And I'm asking you, well, did you go on vacation?
Got an opportunity to move my daughter back over to Mississippi State over in Starkville, Mississippi. So yeah, it was a mini
kind of a vacation.
Kind of a vacation. You know, it was funny because it was supposed to rain the whole weekend over there. Chance of rain all weekend. Didn't see a drop of moisture over there than when my sweat for moving that furniture around. But it was hot and humid over there.
Hot and humid, and that's what we've seen across this country. I mean, I tell you, it's been a long time since we've seen, especially this Midwest, even into Texas, just scorching hot.
Man, it is. It is. And the humidity seems to be hotter or higher than it is normally, too. And, man, that combination of that heat and that humidity, that takes it out of you in a hurry. So you got to stay hydrated. You got to be aware of what's going on, because it didn't take me long to feel just a little bit woozy after doing that, because so much sweat pouring out of you.
So we got Roll Tide right here, and you got Mississippi State Bulldogs, right?
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs over there. Yeah, go Dogs.
With the bully bell, I mean, you know, that's a...
All right, so now we'll hop into safety. We have CSA brake check coming up. Talk to me about that whole thing and what we need to do.
You know, it's coming up next week, and the focus is really on brakes. And I mean, when they pull you over and do that level 1 or level 4 inspections, they're really going to be looking at the brakes. And so many times the drivers just think when we talk about brakes, well, it's about the drums or it's about the pads. It's really not. They're really going to be focusing a lot on your brake hoses. And that's the thing that drivers really neglect. I shouldn't say neglect, but let go too often, because rubbing and chafing is a real big thing. Rubbing and chafing, when it gets down to that inner ply, is an out-of-service thing. And so you've really got to look at it. The other thing that, you know, from a safety standpoint for a driver, I'm sure it's frustrating too, because when you find rubbing and chafing and it's down into that inner ply, it didn't just happen. That's been going on for a long time. That means a lot of drivers either didn't see it or did see it and chose to do nothing about it. And so really pay attention to your brake hoses, see if there's any of them rubbing and chafing. If they are, you know, say something, get it taken care of, get them fixed. Other thing is if you see a splice in your brake lines, check it out, because there are very specific splices that can happen on a brake line. If you see one with like a water hose clamp around it, isn't going to pass in an inspection. Get it taken in someplace and get that splice or get that hose repaired. Other thing is you know, the brake lines, they can't be kinked. And a lot of times we see that like between the tractor and the trailer, they'll be laying down on the deck or something. That's a rubbing and chafing thing. That gets their attention in a hurry. And if they're kinked there, that's another thing they come and look for.
Yeah, you know, when I think about a pre-trip or post-trip, I think about the easy things. And to me, the easy things are the chafing and the tires. Yep. You know, I get it, right? You're supposed to do all that. You're supposed to go look under the brakes. But let me tell you something. There's two things that are easy, because if you're looking for those hoses, if you're looking for hoses that have that rub, that have that chafing, right? They're exposed, and tires that are bald, that have bad wear on it, that just you question. And when I say this, man, when you question something, odds are it's not right. Yeah. You need to get it fixed. And I just say, you know, those are easy things. And when you think about what catches a DOT officer's eyes, He goes to your truck. Is it clean? When he opens up the door to greet you, does your fire extinguisher fall out and hit him in the foot? Is it full? Is it ready to go? Is it charged? Is it, is that part right? Is your electronic logs, your permit book in order? Little things like that. And as he or she is walking around, man, do they see anything that they know that you should have caught? Easy to the eye. Yep. The chafing on the hoses, easy to the eye, and tires. Yeah. Those two things alone, are just, so you've already got, you've impressed him by yes, sir, yes, ma'am. You've given him the permit book. It's in order. Your fire extinguisher's good to go. And now they begin that level 4, that level 3, whatever that is. They go around and they see that, tires are good. There's no shake. I mean, this is going to be pretty good. They enter into your inspection with a better attitude. What you don't want them to do is enter into your inspection with a bad attitude.
Yeah, and so much of what you're saying is dead on, Rick. I mean, if you don't give them a reason to dig deeper, chances are they're not going to, because they're already seeing that, hey, you got that clean truck. It's neat and orderly. My permit book's in place. You got your thing. The fire extinguisher doesn't fall out. And so now they're thinking, hey, he's taking care of business. Mm-hmm. They don't look. You don't look as hard. You don't dig as deep. And so that's their mindset. But as a driver, you still have to have the mindset, I've got to dig deep every day when I do this walk around. I've got to take, hey, those hoses don't look quite right. They're hanging pretty low. I need to look at those. You got to dig deeper for it. And that'll keep them from doing that.
Yep, and also don't give them a reason to pull you over anyway. Yeah. I know during CSA you may not have a choice on that, but again, here's what I'm going to say. I think two things that we continue to see DOT focused on, and that is, speed and space as well. I think when they see big trucks following too close, that they're looking at that a little bit different. They're going to pull you over. They're going to have that talk with you. They're probably going to go ahead and get that inspection done while they're doing that. But let me tell you something. I know it's not brake. It has nothing to do with brake safety, but speed and space, you know what? It will keep you possibly from getting pulled over to have them look for that. Dale, DOT, we talked to those folks, but they are getting more and more critical about the closeness of vehicles. Cars, big trucks, it doesn't matter. We as an industry, we're starting to understand because of technology that too close is too close.
Yep. Absolutely, and that is so true, Rick, and they're starting to watch that because they understand, speed is one thing, but when you're too close, that just limits your ability to come safely to a stop or to avoid an accident, no matter how fast you're going. So that's really about that space. Other thing I'll throw in, seat belts. Folks, don't forget to have that seat belt on. Don't take it off. If you get pulled over, don't take it off until they open that door and see that you have it on. Just don't give them the easy ones like that. Wear your seat belt. That's another thing that they'll catch their eye in a hurry. If they see a driver without a seat belt, they're going to pull you in. It's an easy violation.
Yep.
It's strike one.
Yep, and you know what? I'm going to go back. Great point on that. I'm going to go back to, like, say, the speed limiters. That's a big subject right now as we talk about the big trucks. My thing about the big truck, and this is just I have no scientific proof to back this up. If Drive Safe Dave was sitting there, he would back me up by made up stats, right?
He'd have some stats ready.
He'd have ready to go, and they'd show our way. But here's what I think, is that speed isn't near the problem, or speed is always the problem because the spacing is incorrect. Yeah. I'm going to say most of the time the issue is the space that creates, and you're going too fast for that space. Yeah. And that's where the speed comes in, right? Even if the speed limit's 75, if you're driving 65 and too close, you're too close.
And it was a great drive back and everything. Coming back, and I got to thinking about what we talk about every day, that speed and space, and it's really when you got into that pack, when the vehicles really started getting close together, that's when as a driver I had to find myself, hey, I just got to back off from it, let it clear out a little bit, get away from the craziness, because otherwise you get sucked right into it. Oh, I'm going to get in this, and then you got somebody breathing on you, oh, I'll get a little closer. Can't do that. Just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to let this pack clear, because they always do. Yep. And then just start to go for it.
All right, let's roll through some videos. Producer, what you got for us today?
First one we got's your favorite. Always and forever must stop at a stop sign.
Always and forever.
There you go. There you go. It's like I said, whether it's a habit, and and again, I'll talk about this weekend, I someplace different, and I find myself, and I rolled through a stop sign, and I go, holy cow, I can't believe I just did that. I talk about this all day long. Stop means stop. You got to be focused on that. Be aware if you're doing it. Change those habits. Doesn't matter if you're in a familiar place or an unfamiliar place. That sign means stop.
Yeah, it just does. I mean, it does. It just does. I don't know what to say. It just does.
I don't know what to say. You look to the left, you do that quick glance to the left, you're making that right-hand turn. And if you don't catch everything because you're rolling, you're so intent on going, it's so easy to overlook something, a pedestrian, a jogger, a car, a motorcycle.
And maybe you can't read. Let's just go that. Maybe you just, for whatever reason, you're dyslexic, you can't read. I mean, if you see a red octagon sign, is there another sign that says go? That says kind of stop? Is that what that means? And
and that red color in itself, I mean, that's a danger color. That's a stop color. That means, something.
And how many octagon signs are out there? I'm asking the wrong person. I know drive safe my sign guy. But how many octagon signs out there are not stop signs?
None.
So if you're colorblind, go with the shape.
Yeah.
If you can read and stop. And if you see it and maybe you can't read, but you see it's red and it's octagon, stop. So many different ways it's telling you, it's screaming, stop, stop, stop. So stop. Next video.
Next video we got is called Oh My, Need More Space.
Oh my. We're just way too close here. We need more space. We just need to back off. And this isn't a real big pack, but we can see we're just starting to get into that pack mentality a little bit. Well, I'll just creep up a little bit. This car's going to get out of the way. That's not the right thing to do, because if you got that mindset, that's aggressive driving. That's even worse than following people.
Yeah, what you're trying to do here is get in there so there's no room for this other car to get in front of you, right? You don't want to lose that space, and that's the reason we see a lot of the lack of space, is not wanting that vehicle to get in front of you and take that space away. Understand this. The space that's there right now isn't yours anyway. That space that you're in right now belongs to that vehicle in front of you. You are in no man's land right now. You're not in your space, you're in their space. You've got to back it up a second and a half, get into that range, so now you have some of your own space. Dale, I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense or not, but we're driving right now. We see this truck, we see the car in front of us. We are moving into the person in front of us. We're moving into their space to not allow that car to move in front of us. And my point is that, that space isn't yours. That's their protection space. That's their space. That's their bubble. You're in their bubble. Get out of it.
Yeah, get out of their bubble. That's exactly it. We're so worried sometimes about, they're going to get over into another lane and take my space away. You know what? If we slow down and recreate that space, we're not losing any time. We're still in the same area, same place we'd be. And so just got to get that mindset. And I get it. I drove 400 or 500 miles coming back. It's a long day. You've got to stay sharp. You got to stay on it. You got to be aware of it.
All right, next one.
Next one we got is called Recognize and Correct.
And that goes to just what I was saying, is you're a long day, and so a lot of time you get yourself in a situation, but you got to recognize it. As soon as you recognize it, you have to take the steps to correct it. You can't say, well, it'll go away, this vehicle's going to speed up, or this I'm going to pass and I'll get out of it. No, you got to take that action right away. Start correcting it. Don't wait for the in-cab coach.
Yep.
Next video we got is called Space Gained When Backing Off the Speed.
Even like you said, Rick, when you started, you said it's about speed and space. It's about speed and space. It doesn't matter. It does matter what the posted speed is. But if you're below the posted speed and you're still too close, you're still too close. You got to get out of that mindset. Well, I'm below the speed limit. Just create that space. Don't let yourself gain on it. It goes back to seeing and recognizing how close we are and not worrying about what your speedometer's saying.
Yeah, that right there is, I bet if you take your foot off the accelerator for 3 seconds, you're in the proper, and then put it back on cruise, you're in the proper zone. Proper spacing. You just don't lose time.
No.
You don't lose it like you believe it. And guess what? Nobody's going to definitely steal your space in the right-hand lane.
No.
So give them more space. Get out of their lane. You're right now, Dale, I guess maybe this will help all of us right here, is that right now we're still in their bubble. Right? It's not our bubble right now. So we're not. We have stolen their. We're worried about somebody still in their space or our space, that's not our space to be worried about. That space belongs to that vehicle in front of us.
Yes, it does.
Next video we got is called "When Space is Taken Away, You Got to React and Recreate."
So this is one where we talk about, we have we have a little bit of space going on, and that vehicle comes over and cuts off because he's got to change lanes. How do we react? Not very well in the situation. Needed to get, as soon as we see this is happening, that's when you lift your foot off, maybe tap your brakes a little bit to slow down a little bit. Give those people around you a little, hey, I got to slow down. I've just been, somebody's come up in front of me. Drivers talk about being cut off all the time. We know what happens. It's what we do when it happens that's important.
Yes, sir.
We got one last video for the day. It's called "Great Job, Driver."
This is one where we're paying attention. Driver does a great job. We're coming up to a stoplight. He's watching what's going on. The straight truck, bobtail, whatever, decides to change lanes right there at the stoplight. Driver has a hard brake. That's okay. Allows that truck to come over, doesn't crowd the space and everything. And so great job by the driver being, aware of your situation, what's going on, and doing some defensive driving.
Yeah, great job. A great job of looking up ahead and see what's going on. Again, little things like this. I mean, if you're driving in this blue truck right now and you see up ahead, I have the clearaway, right? There's nothing going on. There's a vehicle way up ahead. What a great time for me to check on that text message that I got. If you check on that text message right now, you don't see this silliness happen right now, and you can't react the way you need to react. There's no place in that truck for your cell phone. Put it away. It can wait. It really can.
Yeah. I mean, the worst thing, they leave a message and you call them back when you stop. I mean, just a great job by the driver here, but also look at this straight truck. What's he gaining by, pulling out and go around that car at the last second through an intersection?
And Drive Safe says it quite a bit. These folks that are driving this truck, this budget truck, they're not the same professional that we are.
No.
And they may be the same person that drives a four-wheeler back for. Heck, this could be somebody like you moving their daughter to college, with all her stuff and all of that, and they're in that truck for the weekend. There's all sorts of things that happens on here. However, we've got to remember that we have that Class A, and with that comes a lot of responsibility. They, in this budget, still have the same responsibility as well. Don't get me wrong. They have rules, and they got to follow the same kind of procedures that we do. However, we have that experience in the big truck, and this is a great bit of driving right here.
Yeah.
Phenomenal way to be looking up ahead, expecting these kinds of things to happen, and way to react. A hard break, but you know what? A hard break well-deserved.
Yep, absolutely. Just a great video, a bunch of great videos this morning, something we can learn from, something we take away from most of them.
Yes, sir. That's what it's about. We want to make sure that we continue to, learn on things. What you got, sir?
We have an anonymous source that just sent these in, asking that I show them regarding you, Sir Rick. Show the first few pictures. I was emailed these from an anonymous email.
I don't understand. The Cardinals are the first National League team to finish a 3-game sweep of the Yankees in 15 years. I don't know. You know what?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're all different kinds of people, though. Some people celebrate a win, and some people celebrate with rings. And I just say, show me the rings, baby, because that's what it's all about. We'll see you later. Before that, we'll say a prayer, and we're going to pray for you, too, that maybe you, the anonymous person, can raise your standards. Much like Roll Tide, much like those beloved New York Yankees, where you expect a lot more out of yourself. You're not so much worried about a single game in which you play half your farm team because you have a 10 or 11 game lead in your position. It's all about that. Get ready. Make yourself better. You learn something from the Yankees, and you too can be great like Dale and myself. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day you've given us. We ask you to watch over our drivers, watch over all of us, help us stay alert, make that decision to back off when it's required. We just have got to find a way, and we ask for your help to let us see when it's time to back up, when it's time to apply those brakes, when it's time to get out of that person in front of us, out of their bubble. Watch over this crazy world. Just help us get through this. Help us to love one another. We ask you to be with those today as well that are being trafficked. And we just, our heart breaks. And if we see something, Lord, just ask that you give us that courage to make that phone call. The courage to do something, to get somebody out of a bad situation. It's in your son's name we pray, and we thank you so much. Amen. Everybody, we'll see you tomorrow on BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Mañana.